To plan or not to plan? That is the question. Hello everyone, I'm Mary Jane, full-time traveler since March 2018, and today I'm gonna briefly talk about this topic: to plan your trips or not to plan. What is better? My opinion is it's all proportional to how much time you have available for your trip. So let's go from one extreme to the other and make examples. Let's start with me. I just told you I decided to travel full-time 1.5 years ago, so that means that I just travel in my life, which means that I have plenty of time to visit the places where I go to, and therefore I don't plan my trips at all. The only thing I plan is the transportation and the accommodation for maybe the first night, sometimes not even. And then what I do is I talk with locals immediately. I start conversations from scratch, or I do couch surfing so I can talk directly to my host. And I start to understand what is there to see, what is interesting, where the locals hang out, which is always my favorite thing to know. They tell me what are the most touristy places, what are the most interesting touristy places, and stuff like that. Let's make now an example in the middle. Let's say you have 2 weeks out of work to take a trip and you want to visit Norway, the southern half of Norway, let's say. Now, 2 weeks is a reasonable time that allows you not to rush all the time to visit the whole place, but it's still a limited amount of time. And if you have a regular job, of course, you cannot travel every month. So that time when you do, you want to do things the right way. So you're gonna certainly need to plan a little bit. What I would suggest is to, of course, plan the transportations, because that's probably the main annoying thing that you should think about in a trip. And then plan the accommodation for the first night or the first couple of nights, and maybe a couple of accommodations here and there. So at least for a few nights, you know that you are covered and you don't need to think about it. But I also suggest you to leave some space in between, leave some space for unforeseen events. Maybe you will meet some new friends somewhere and you don't want to go to the next city right away. You want to stay a couple of days with them and hang out, have fun. Or maybe you get to a place, you don't really like it. You thought of spending there like 3 days, but 1 day is enough for you. And if you haven't booked all the 3 nights already, you are free to just leave that place and go to another city. This is something that I hear a lot of people complaining about, that they plan their vacation too strictly and then something happens and you have to screw up your plan for a couple of days. You don't like that. It's not a good sensation when you have everything planned and you have to change the plans. I think it's something that adds stress instead of taking off the stress. What you can do before leaving, though, is to read books, watch movies, listen to local music as much as you can. For example, you could read one novel that is located in that country that you're gonna visit, or watch a movie that is located there, or read a biography of a famous person from that country, something that can let you feel the country already before actually being there, so you arrive there prepared. The other extreme is unfortunately the most common case, I guess, on trips. It's when you don't have time at all. It's those 3-4 days kind of vacation, like a long weekend where you decide to visit like 1 or 2 cities in 3-4 days. You're not gonna have many moments where you can just do whatever, because you want to make the most out of the little time that you have. My rule of thumb is that the more time you have in the country, the less time you need to spend on learning about the country before you get there. The less time you can actually spend in the country, the more time you want to spend in the preparation. So in this case, where you just have 3 days, you want to take your time, at least 1 month before your trip, and start reading about it a lot. Start watching YouTube videos, start reading books, both historical books or maybe those general first pages of the tourist guides. Find some local artists, try to soak in the culture as much as you can before you get there. Also, you want to plan as much as you can. I think that if you have only, let's say, 3 days, it's not bad at all if you plan almost every single hour that you have, because you're just gonna be more efficient. Of course, it's not gonna be a relaxing kind of vacation, but probably you wanna skip on those afternoons where you are just a little bit tired and you end up taking a too long nap in your room instead of going around exploring the new place. So, our question was, to plan or not to plan your trips? Mary Jane's rule, in all her expertise on the topic, is the more time you have available to spend in the place, the less you need to plan. The shorter your trip, the more time you want to spend in preparing it and the more you want to plan it. Now I want you to tell me in the comments what you think about my rule. Do you agree on that? What do you do usually in your trips? What would you suggest to the people who are watching this video? Your advices are very much appreciated too. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more travel-related content, and don't forget to click on the bell button, because otherwise subscribing is not gonna do much for your consuming of my content. And if you use YouTube on mobile, make sure to have the app notifications turned on. I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.